So imagine you're just scrolling through a pristine, beige, totally color-coordinated baby registry. You definitely know the exact aesthetic I'm talking about, right?
Oh, absolutely. The soft, earthy neutrals, the spotless wooden toys.
Exactly. And like high-tech gadgets that look like they belong on a luxury spacecraft. Plus, these immaculate, fluffy white blankets everywhere.
Right. It's a very specific, highly curated vibe.
It is. But now, I want you to imagine a bouncy castle where the front door has been left completely unzipped and things are just aggressively flying out of it.
That is a very different image, but honestly, a much more accurate one.
Right. Today, we are exploring why perfectly preparing for that first scenario leaves you, well, entirely unequipped for the biological reality of the second.
Because the contrast between the curated marketing of parenthood and the actual physiological reality of an infant it's jarring.
Yeah.
We are looking at a multi-billion-dollar industry built entirely on that gap.
Yeah, selling this tranquil, highly controlled version of life with a newborn that just, rarely exists in the real world.
Exactly. It's an illusion.
So, to get at the truth, we have gathered a vast stack of sources for you. We're pulling from deeply honest parenting community forums, pediatric medical guidelines, safety standards, and rigorous product reviews.
A really comprehensive mix of medical facts and in-the-trenches parent reality.
Yeah, and our mission today is to extract the exact practical knowledge you need to navigate newborn messes, sleep safety, and laundry, all without losing your mind and ideally without draining your bank account.
Which is incredibly easy to do if you're just following standard registry checklists.
Oh, totally. Okay, let's unpack this. Before we get into what you actually need to clean up a baby, we have to clear out the clutter of what you absolutely do not need.
And this is where we look at the data from parenting communities. Specifically, there's this highly detailed list from the Let's Match Mums community outlining the top 10 baby products parents regret buying.
Yes, the regrets are so palpable in these forums. And some of the biggest offenders are just, well, they're kind of hilarious in hindsight.
A distinct pattern emerges right away. Parents are overwhelmed by gear that simply fails to deliver on its promises.
Like the number one regret, wipe warmers.
Yeah.
I mean, people really hate their wipe warmers.
The wipe warmer is a textbook example of solving a problem that just doesn't exist. The marketing heavily implies that a cold wipe will distress the baby. Right.
Yeah, that it's this cruel shock to their system.
But biologically, most babies adapt very quickly to room temperature wipes. What parents actually discover is that a wipe warmer is just a massive high-maintenance appliance.
Right, because it just dries out the wipes at the bottom.
Exactly. It dries them out. It requires constant refilling. And if you don't clean it meticulously, a warm, dark, moist box becomes an ideal breeding ground for bacteria.
Ew. Yeah, nobody wants a bacteria box in the nursery. Plus, if you train a baby to only accept a heated wipe, you're setting yourself up for failure.
Because you can't take it with you.
Right. You're going to have a screaming infant when you're forced to change a diaper in a public restroom using a regular cold wipe from your bag.
Which brings us to another huge regret on the list. Those giant diaper bags with like 3 dozen tiny compartments.
Oh man, the tactical diaper bag.
Yes. Parents think they want intense organization, but they end up completely unable to find anything in the maze of pockets. They universally end up preferring smaller, simpler bags.
That makes so much sense. Oh, and baby shoes before the baby can actually walk. The forums said they're purely decorative and instantly kicked off.
Basically just tiny, expensive accessories to lose.
Exactly. But wait, if we're clearing out useless gear, what about the expensive bottle sterilizers and baby bath thermometers? Aren't those legitimate medical necessities for keeping an infant safe?
You would think so, based on the marketing. But the consensus from experienced parents and pediatric guidelines is a firm no.
Really? So you don't need the massive countertop machine?
You absolutely do not need a specialized $50 kitchen appliance to sterilize bottles. Boiling water in a regular pot or using standard sterilizing tablets achieves the exact same chemical and thermal results.
So it destroys the pathogens just as effectively.
Exactly. And as for bath thermometers, checking the water temperature with the sensitive skin of your wrist or elbow is a highly accurate, tried-and-true method for preventing burns.
Wow. It really reminds me of packing for a vacation when you have absolutely no idea what the climate's going to be like.
Oh, that's a great analogy.
Yeah, like you throw out a heavy parka, 3 swimsuits, and hiking boots, just in case. You're overpacking out of anxiety, not actual necessity.
Precisely. The psychology driving this consumer behavior is deeply rooted in purchasing certainty. First-time parents are buying for the idea of a baby.
They just want to feel ready for the chaos.
Exactly. They are trying to purchase preparedness in a life transition that feels inherently chaotic. But what experienced families realize is that infant developmental stages flash by.
Which is what that let's match mom sharing philosophy heavily promotes, right?
Yes, a small number of simple, versatile items works best, making gently used gear a much smarter financial decision than buying everything brand new.
Okay, so if we are skipping the fancy wipe warmers and the giant sterilizer machines, what are we actually left dealing with?
We are left with the unglamorous biological reality of a developing human body.
Which means spit up and safe sleep. Mostly just bodily fluids everywhere.
Basically, yes. And to manage those daily realities, you really have to understand the anatomy of infant digestion.
Walk us through it. What's happening in there?
Well, when a baby feeds, milk travels down the esophagus and into the stomach. At the junction between those two organs sits a small ring of muscle called the lower esophageal sphincter, or the LES.
Okay, the LES.
Think of the LES as a one-way valve. In adults, this valve clamps firmly shut to keep stomach acid and food down. But in infants, this muscle is physically immature. It's quite lax.
So, to use our earlier image, the baby's LES is that bouncy castle door that hasn't been zipped up.
That is exactly what it is.
Whatever goes in is just going to bounce right back out.
And because that bouncy castle door is unzipped, gastroesophageal reflux, or GER, is exceptionally common. Up to 50% of infants under 3 months of age regurgitate at least once a day.
Half of all babies. That's huge.
It is entirely a normal physiological function of their current anatomy. This laxity in the muscle also explains why spitting up becomes significantly worse at night.
Right, because gravity is no longer helping push things down.
Precisely. During sleep, two crucial things shift. First, swallowing naturally slows down.
And swallowing usually helps push things back down.
Yes, swallowing naturally helps clear the esophagus of any creeping fluids. Second, laying a baby flat totally removes gravity from the equation. Milk can sit in an infant's stomach for 1 to 3 hours before emptying into the intestines.
Oh, wow. So if a large feed happens right before laying them down flat, the milk simply travels backward through that loose LES.
It just spills right out.
Putting a baby down to sleep and watching them immediately spit up has to be terrifying for a new parent. I mean, how do you know if it's just the unzipped bouncy castle door or if something is seriously wrong?
What's fascinating here is the medical distinction between benign physiological reflux and GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disease.
Okay, so GER is the actual disease.
Right. GERD involves complications that damage the tissue or hinder the baby's growth. Normal spit up is effortless, milk-colored, and the baby usually doesn't even wake up or cry.
They just kind of leak and keep sleeping.
Exactly. But there are specific warning signs you should look for. If the vomiting is projectile, meaning forceful, pressured expulsion across a distance, not just dribbling down the chin, that indicates an obstruction.
That's definitely a doctor visit.
Yes. And if the fluid is green or yellow, meaning there is bile present, that is an immediate red flag.
Or I imagine clear signs of dehydration, like suddenly having way fewer wet diapers.
Absolutely. Or if the baby exhibits persistent back arching. This is a specific posturing response known as Sandifer syndrome.
Wait, Sandifer syndrome? Why do they arch their backs?
Babies do this because physically arching the back and extending the neck elongates the esophagus. It puts tension on the tissue, which temporarily reduces the acid backflow and relieves the burning sensation.
Oh, that's so sad. They're just trying to find physical relief.
They are. But if a baby is gaining weight, generally happy, and just effortlessly spitting up milk, it is a laundry problem, not a medical problem.
A laundry problem. I like that. But because gravity is no longer helping keep that milk down, the moment you lay them in their crib, the sleep space basically becomes the splash zone.
It really does.
How do we keep that specific environment safe while dealing with the mess? Because the guidelines from sources like Joey and Joan and major pediatric organizations are notoriously strict.
They are strict for a reason. The safest sleep position for an infant, even one with heavy reflux, is flat on their back. The environment must consist of a firm mattress covered with only a fitted sheet.
Only a fitted sheet, nothing else.
Correct. You cannot use wedges to elevate their head, you cannot prop the mattress up, and you must entirely avoid loose blankets, pillows, or padded bumpers.
I read something wild in the community forums, though. Some parents think that leaving the mattress completely bare, like skipping the fitted sheet altogether, is somehow the ultimate safe sleep hack to prevent suffocation.
Yes, that circulates online, but the sources highlight that as a terrible idea
Why? I mean, a bare mattress doesn't have any loose fabric to bunch up.
because it creates a severe hygiene issue. A bare mattress is highly vulnerable. Every time that baby spits up or has a diaper leak, the fluid soaks directly into the mattress core.
Oh, no. And you can't exactly throw a mattress in the washing machine.
Exactly. Foam and crib mattresses are notoriously difficult to clean deeply and dry completely. That trapped organic moisture quickly becomes a breeding ground for harmful bacteria and mold spores, which the baby then breathes in night after night.
Ugh, it's a total nightmare. Not to mention, a bare waterproof mattress feels cold and stiff. So parents, feeling guilty about the baby's comfort, end up improvising.
Which is where it gets dangerous.
Yeah, they throw a loose cowl or a soft blanket down just to soften the surface.
Which introduces an immediate suffocation and entanglement hazard. A properly sized, tightly fitted sheet solves both problems simultaneously.
Because it acts as a barrier.
Right. It provides a breathable, washable barrier that protects the mattress from absorbing fluids, and it removes the temptation for parents to introduce dangerous loose bedding into the crib.
Okay, so since we know spit up is biologically inevitable, and we know the crib must remain totally bare, how do you manage the sheer volume of mess during their waking hours?
Yes.
I mean, this brings us to the frontline defenses.
This is exactly where clinical guidelines hand the baton over to the hard-won wisdom of the parenting trenches.
And the Reddit reality check is eye-opening here.
Yeah.
When you look at the forums, the advice on how many burp cloths you need is staggering.
It really shocks first-time parents.
Parents recommend having 20 to 30 burp cloths on hand at a minimum.
While that sounds excessive to an outsider, it factors in the continuous output of spit up and drool, cross-referenced with how often a tired parent realistically wants to run a washing machine.
Honestly, running the wash twice a day sounds awful. But there is also a fierce debate out there regarding bibs silicone versus fabric.
The great bib
You
debate.
see both of them everywhere, and parents seem deeply confused about which one they should actually register for.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the silicone versus fabric debate isn't about which material is universally better. It is entirely about matching the specific tool to the child's current developmental phase.
Okay, break that down for us.
Fabric bibs, your cottons, your muslins, your terry cloths, are strictly for newborns. Their only job is to absorb moisture like drool, milk dribbles, and spit up.
Okay, so fabric equals absorption. What about silicone?
Silicone bibs with those little built-in troughs at the bottom are for the weaning phase when you introduce solid foods. They are designed to repel moisture and physically catch falling chunks of sweet potato.
Got it. So putting a stiff, waterproof silicone bib on a drooling newborn
Is a common and painful mistake.
because the silicone doesn't absorb anything. The drool just runs down the plastic and pulls directly against the baby's neck.
Exactly. An infant skin is highly sensitive. Trapped moisture sitting in the neck folds, quickly breaks down the skin barrier, leading to severe, painful drool rashes.
Ouch.
Conversely, using a thin muslin bib for a toddler eating spaghetti means the fabric soaks through instantly, completely ruining the clothes underneath. You have to match the absorption properties of the material to the viscosity of the mess.
That makes perfect sense. But wait, if I need 30 of these fabric cloths for the newborn phase, I'm definitely not buying specialty, overpriced baby shapes.
You're going for the bulk pack.
Yeah, I'm going to a big box store and buying a bulk pack of cheap rectangular hand towels. I mean, why wouldn't that work just as well?
You certainly could, and some parents do rely on traditional flat cloth diapers for that exact purpose. But there is a functional nuance to the geometry of modern Burp cloths that parents swear by.
A functional nuance to a burp cloth.
Yes, a standard rectangular towel does not drape naturally. The moment you move your arm to pat the baby's back, a rectangle slips right off your shoulder.
Oh, leaving your shirt completely exposed to the spit up.
Exactly. Reviews from platforms like Little Hometown highlight the superiority of the contoured or hourglass shape.
How does the hourglass shape help?
The design flares out wide at both ends to maximize the catch area on your chest and back, but it narrows in the center so it physically locks into the curve of your neck and shoulder joint.
So it stays anchored while you juggle a wiggling baby.
Precisely. Furthermore, fabric choice dictates performance. Muslin is highly breathable and gets softer with every wash, whereas terry cloth has a higher pile that aggressively absorbs heavy liquid.
Which brings us to the inevitable aftermath. You now have a laundry basket overflowing with 30 sour milk-soaked, hourglass-shaped burp cloths.
The reality of parenthood.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How do you aggressively clean them without exposing the baby's skin to harsh, irritating chemicals?
Yeah.
Welcome to the chemistry of clean.
The stakes are significantly higher here than with adult laundry. An infant's outer layer of skin, the stratum corneum, is up to 30% thinner than an adult's.
30% thinner, that's a huge difference.
It is significantly more permeable, making them highly susceptible to contact dermatitis and the systemic absorption of chemicals.
Here's where it gets really interesting. If you look at the community hacks, parents are operating like amateur chemists.
They really are. They get incredibly creative.
Yeah, some use enzyme-based cleaners, some soak everything in OxyClean to break down the proteins.
Yeah.
But the absolute best, oldest trick in the book for stubborn organic stains is sun bleaching.
Yes, the classic method.
Just washing the cloths and leaving them outside in the literal sun.
Sun bleaching is a fantastic display of photochemistry. The ultraviolet rays from the sun possess enough energy to physically break the chemical bonds of the stain's chromophores.
Chromophores, what are those?
It's the specific part of the molecule responsible for its color. By breaking those bonds, the stain is neutralized and literally fades away without a single drop of chemical bleach.
That is so elegant. I love that. But when it comes to the actual washing machine, there's a pervasive myth about what detergent you have to buy.
The baby marketing.
Exactly. Every registry has a bottle of detergent with a baby's face plastered on it, usually sold at a massive premium.
Dermatologists and pediatricians are incredibly clear on this. You do not need to buy detergent explicitly marketed for babies.
Oh, really?
In fact, many standard detergents, provided they meet specific chemical criteria, are safer and far more effective at lifting tough stains. Tide Free and Gentle, for example, is highly rated and actually holds a recommendation from the National Eczema Association.
Wow. The sources mention a few other top performers too, right?
They do. Dreft is the nostalgic classic, though it's quite expensive, and the original formulation contains scent. Ecos is a fantastic, budget-friendly, plant-based option.
And Dabble is praised for spot-treating enzymes I saw. Oh, and True Earth makes these dehydrated detergent sheets that dissolve in the wash, which totally eliminates the plastic jug.
The brand name is ultimately irrelevant. The ingredient label is what truly matters. You must rigorously avoid parabens, phosphates, and specifically phthalates.
What's the deal with phthalates?
Phthalates are often used to make fragrances last longer in the fabric, but they are known endocrine disruptors.
Oh, wow.
Given how easily an infant's thin skin absorbs substances, wrapping them in clothes coated in endocrine disruptors is a tangible risk. You also need to avoid optical brighteners.
Okay, I have to ask, what exactly is an optical brightener?
They are synthetic chemicals engineered to trick the human eye. They actually do not clean your clothes at all.
Wait, they don't clean them? What do they do?
Instead, they coat the fabric in a chemical residue that absorbs invisible UV light and re-emits it in the blue region of the visible spectrum.
So it's basically an optical illusion.
Exactly. This blue light cancels out the natural yellowing of the fabric, making the cloth appear artificially whiter and brighter. But that chemical residue is designed to cling permanently to the fabric, which means it rests directly against a baby's permeable skin, often causing severe irritation.
They just paint the clothes with blue light to trip your brain. That's insane. Another vital distinction the sources clarify is the difference between fragrance-free and unscented. I always assumed those were just synonyms.
Most people do, but it is a deliberate and confusing industry standard. Fragrance-free means the product contains 0 added fragrance ingredients.
Okay. And unscented.
Unscented means the manufacturer has actively added masking chemicals. Detergent-based ingredients often smell very harsh or industrial. To achieve an unscented product, companies add a cocktail of fragrances specifically engineered to neutralize and hide that chemical odor.
So an unscented detergent can actually be loaded with undisclosed fragrance chemicals.
Yes, it's a chemical mask.
That is incredibly deceptive.
Huh.
And speaking of safety hazards in the laundry room, there is a stark warning in the medical sources regarding laundry pods.
Yes, pediatricians strongly advise against keeping liquid laundry pods in a home with young children.
Because they look like candy.
Exactly. The detergent inside is highly concentrated and exceptionally toxic. Because the pods are brightly colored, squishy, and fit perfectly in a small hand, they mimic the exact appearance and texture of candy or teething toys.
So the poisoning risk is severe.
It is. Stick to traditional liquid or powder detergents when you have a baby in the house.
So to navigate all this chemistry without needing a PhD, there is a global certification to look out for. It's called the Okikotex Standard 100.
A very helpful standard.
Yeah, it is an independent laboratory certification that tests every single component of a textile, like the fabric, the thread, the dyes, even the metal. Snaps for over 1,000 harmful substances.
They test for heavy metals, pesticide residues, flame retardants, and all the phthalates we just discussed. And they divide their certifications into classes.
Right, and Class I is the one for babies.
Correct. Class I is their strictest testing threshold, specifically calibrated for the heightened sensitivity of babies and toddlers under 36 months old. This raises an important question, though. When we realize how rigorously we need to avoid optical brighteners, masking fragrances, and endocrine disruptors to protect infant skin, we have to wonder how many unlisted chemicals we blindly accept in our own adult clothing and detergents.
Oh, entirely unaware of the chronic impact on our own bodies.
Exactly, we just don't think about it.
Seriously,
Oh.
I am auditing my own laundry room the minute we finish this. Okay, let's summarize this journey for you. Skip the useless gadgets. You really don't need a wipe warmer or decorative infant sneakers.
Save your money.
Yep. Respect the biology of your baby's unzipped bouncy castle door. That immature lower esophageal sphincter means spit up is just a fact of life. Keep the crib strictly to a firm mattress and a fitted sheet to prevent bacteria buildup and suffocation.
Function over aesthetics.
Always. Build your frontline defenses by matching the tool to the phase. Hourglass fabric, burp cloths for newborn drool, and waterproof silicone troughs for solid food. And finally, choose a hypoallergenic, fragrance-free detergent, completely ignoring the expensive baby marketing.
It's all about knowing what to look for on the label.
So what does this all mean? It means that being a truly well-informed parent isn't about buying the most expensive gear on the market. It is about understanding the underlying biology and chemistry of the problems you face, which ultimately saves you time, money, and a profound amount of laundry stress.
It simplifies the entire experience.
Which leaves us with a final thought to chew on. We started by picturing that flawless, highly curated baby registry. Globally, we spend billions of dollars on highly engineered products designed to sanitize, warm, and optimize our babies' environments.
A massive industry feeding on the desire for control.
But given how beautifully the natural UV rays of the sun break down stains, and how a simple piece of contoured muslin cloth can handle the biological reality of reflux, are we over-engineering modern infancy just to soothe our own parental anxiety, rather than actually benefiting the child?
That is the real question.
Maybe the messy biological reality doesn't require a high-tech gadget to fix it. Maybe it just needs a little sunlight and acceptance.
A vital perspective on what truly matters in those early months.
Thanks for diving deep with us today. Go check those detergent labels, and we'll catch you next time.